I'm here with Chip from ATN. Chip's the Director of Marketing. What a cool job you have.
I love it.
I love it. That's pretty sweet. Well, as you know, Chip, predator hunting is getting super popular. And with that, of course, night hunting for predators is growing in popularity.
For sure.
You guys have some amazing night and thermal vision scopes. I use your night vision, thermal vision, and have had some great luck. It's helped me take a lot of animals. And I mean, on video, I've harvested coyotes, bobcats, raccoon, hogs, and some African predators. You know, I'm tickled you came out here because I know how great your stuff works in the field. I've shot a lot of animals with them. You know all the background, the history, and the specs on the equipment. So a lot of people, a lot of my fans have sent questions in, all kinds of questions like, how much are they? What's the difference between night vision and thermal vision? What's the difference between Gen 1 and Gen 4? So I'm tickled that you're here and that we've had the opportunity to test a lot of not only the night vision and the thermal vision, but also the night vision and thermal vision viewers as well.
For sure. You know, that question that you brought up, what's the difference between the generations? There's a rule of thumb that I always tell people, you know, the difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, keep in mind the generation represents the advancement in technology. So Generation 1 was back in the 1960s, and then we've got Generation 3 and 4 now. But the difference can be summed up between the distance at which you can see at night. You know, you need some ambient light. Of course, you need some starlight, some moonlight, because night vision, all it does is really amplify light. The difference is basically 100 yards with Gen 1, 200 yards with Gen 2, 300 yards with Gen 3, and then about 350 with Gen 4.
Now, when you say that's how far you can see, is that how far you can see a coyote? Is that how far you can see a tree? Is that how far you can see a person? What is that based off of?
Generally, that's a person-sized object.
Okay, and that's based on, because most of this stuff started out as military.
It did, yeah. I mean, this is a military technology. I mean, they still use it, right? U.S. military still uses a very similar monocular to these, you know, the PVS-14. But then there's a huge hunting application for them, as you know now.
No, I think they're awesome. Well, you know, I want to break that down for people. What do you think, if you were to break down the difference between night vision and thermal vision? Because I've tried to explain it, but, you know, working at ATN,
Sure.
I'd like to hear the technical explanation, and I'm sure our fans would. You know, what do you describe the difference between thermal and night vision as?
So here's the technical definition between
Perfect.
the two. Or it's really simple, actually. Night vision is for identification, and then thermal is mainly for detection. So you get recognition with night vision because you've got that detail, right? You can see the faces. A lot of law enforcement, they prefer or have to use night vision so they can identify whatever they're looking at, you know, facial, whatever. Thermal, you can detect objects out to maybe 1,500 yards with our, you know, our latest and greatest.
Right.
But, you know, you're seeing shapes. You're detecting heat.
Well, I think that's interesting because although I see the recognition capabilities with the night vision scopes, when I use the thermal scope, I would say I'm recognizing exactly what I'm looking at because with the focus ring, I can just tack it on. I mean, look at what we were shooting the other day. We were shooting a gallon jug of water, and you could focus that and tell basically that you were looking at a gallon jug of water.
We could even see that handle on that water jug at 100 yards.
Right.
When that's with our Rolls Royce of thermal scopes, and that's kind of the high definition resolution of our thermals. We've got two, we've got a standard, we've got high definition. With that high definition these days, it's unbelievably clear.
Oh, it blows me away. But what's also cool is you guys have a myriad of price ranges. A lot of people talk to me about, Fred, if I want to get into a thermal or a night vision scope, what's my range of cost? And you guys really have something for somebody to get into basically no matter what their price range is.
Right. I mean, one of our things is kind of offering a value with performance. So with thermal stuff, it's really come down from the tens of thousands to maybe 3,000 starting for a thermal scope that you can detect anything in the pitch black darkness.
And that's pitch black dark. That's what I try and explain that to people. And that's one of the reasons we were doing what we were doing with the camera is like, I just want people to see how dark it is. Yeah. I mean, this is pitch black dark. You turn off the light from the camera and you can't see me. I couldn't even see my cameraman. But with the thermal, you could see like it was daytime.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because people don't really know the difference between the technology of thermal, where that doesn't need light. It doesn't amplify light like night vision does. It detects heat. So you can be in a pitch black darkness, like you said, and see everything out there.
Right, and the thermal detecting heat, like when we put our hand on that metal building and pulled it away, and not only could you see it, but 5 minutes later, you could still see the imprint just where the hand was there for a little while. It blew me away.
Oh yeah, all you're doing is detecting heat. You can see footprints, people walking on cement. You can see guns that have just been fired, tossed in the field. I mean, a lot of stuff.
I think that's so huge because a lot of people don't realize that. Like you say, with thermal vision, you don't need any light at all. You could be in an enclosed building, no windows, no anything, and you can see what's in there. If it's alive or it's emanating heat, you're gonna pick it up. Our test that we did with the night vision was really neat too. And I thought we did a great job of showing that because we had a perfect scenario, right? We had quarter to a third moon, we had some starlight, and we were testing it with the IR light at 50 yards, basically a real world scenario. So not only were we utilizing the regular light that people would have in a normal situation, we didn't want to go with a full moon, we didn't want to go with a half moon, so we went between a quarter and a third moon, and we were able to show that with the IR light that comes with it, what you could see at 50 yards.
I mean, you bring up a very good point. That amount of light we had was kind of your typical amount of ambient light. And then, again, with the IR illuminator, that really brings that picture to light.
Oh,
right?
It's awesome.
I mean, and every unit comes with it.
Right, and that's why I tell people there's no reason not to use the IR light because it increases the regular light that you're seeing.
Exactly.
But the great thing is, nobody else sees it. The animals don't see it. It's not like you're running a spotlight or anything else. That IR light, and we keep saying IR, infrared light,
Right.
You don't see it. You're not picking it up. So the scope picks it up, but you don't and the animals don't.
Correct. Yeah, and that light is totally invisible to any human eye or the animal eye as well.
That's one of the things I love about your products. The other thing, besides all the scopes that we look through, because we look through, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4 night vision, we look through same thing. We walk through some of the different thermal vision scopes that you guys offer, but we also went through the thermal viewers and the night vision viewers. And to me, that's a pretty cool option to have somebody to, if you're predator hunting, it's one thing to be looking through your gun and scanning. It's another thing to have your buddy that's with you or somebody else scanning the other side. Just like if you're hunting as a team, you can see almost 360 degrees.
And that's where it gets really fun, is if you've got a buddy with a thermal viewer, he can spot for you. We've got some really lightweight ones that are just, ounces. And then you've got the Thor scope mounted on the gun. You can tell your buddy, oh, I see one over there. He swings over. I mean, swinging the gun can get a little tiresome because they can get heavy.
Right.
But the thermal viewer, I mean, that's just the best of both worlds, having the handheld and the scope.
Right, they're super light, you've got a monocular and you're just cruising around checking things out. So
Right.
I found that a lot of times I'll use them in conjunction. I'll take a thermal viewer and I'll scan with that, and then once I spot the animal, I'll lay that down, or my buddy will say, right here, and then I'm on it with the gun. So if you were to break it down in layman's terms, and I certainly understand Generation 1 was the first generation, that's the first one that they had. And now really there's some discussion whether it's Gen 3 or Gen 4, but could you break that down for somebody that's looking to maybe get into night hunting, or to even use it for security? Because I'll be honest, when my dogs bark, I usually grab either the thermal and night vision scope, I'll step outside and I'll go, oh, there's a bear, that's why they're barking, or I can take a look at what's going on. But could you explain the difference between Gen 1 and Gen 4 as far as what people are seeing, and maybe talk a little cost with us, because a lot of people are curious, how much is this stuff?
So for night vision scopes, our most inexpensive scope is actually the X-Sight, but you can get into one of those for about $600.
So a guy can start shooting at predators at night for $600, $700.
And he can record everything he shoots at.
That's what's awesome. That's another question I get a lot is, how do you record?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later.
Gen 2, for the more serious predator hunter that wants to see everything, all the details, Gen 2s are around 2,000, and then Gen 3s can be 3,000 and up, and so.
Awesome. So something for anything guys want to do.
Oh yeah.
Once they get into it though, I find that they want to get into it even more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes they'll go from night vision and kind of graduate to thermal.
Nice. Now, one of the things that I love about the Thor that I use a lot, which is the thermal vision scope, and I look at it as, can I pay for this? And I shoot a lot of predators, and the fur market's growing a lot. I mean, I got $86 for my best coyote last year. You know what I mean? I got almost $500 for my best bobcat. So, all of a sudden I'm looking at that going, wow, if that helps me, harvest a lot more animals, well, boom, I've just paid for a thermal scope. So, I kind of look at it like that because, growing up as a trapper and, still trying to help a lot of the ranchers around here thin down the coyotes, that's something that I utilize, you know what I mean? Not only for fun, but also to help guys get rid of, some coyotes that are causing problems with calves and things like that. So, I think a guy can justify it pretty easy, especially if he gets in on one of the more, affordable models and then goes, oh, wow, this is awesome. And then goes, man, I want to take it to the next level.
When you're talking about protecting your livelihood, if you're a rancher and you want to protect your cattle or whatever, I mean, the price tag is justified. And that was before when they cost more, but now we've dropped the price down to be a lot less. We've got scopes starting up at $3,000, ranging up to about $9,000.
Well, I told you, I went down to Texas and we were shooting hogs in a guy's wheat field. And they were destroying his wheat field. He was trying to add up like how much money he was losing. And literally he was like, I'm going to buy one because it's going to help save me money. I have got to get rid of some of these hogs. They're depredating hogs. We've got to get some of these hogs out of here. So, there's a lot of cool things that ATN offers to a lot of different people, like you said, depending on, what you're going to do or how serious of a predator hunter you are.
And let's not discount the fun factor.
Oh, no. No, don't get me wrong. I just like looking at stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have fun. Owls, mice, just identifying stuff. When you're out there with people, you can hand them and go, check out the rabbit out there. Mm-hmm. And they're, what? It's pitch black dark. How do you see a rabbit? Well, check this out. Owls, mice, rabbits, raccoons, whatever it is, it's amazing to be able to pick up either a night vision or thermal vision ATN and see what you're looking at. On the video out capabilities, a lot of people ask me, how are you able to video through their scope? Like some of the testing we were doing the other day, whether I was shooting a water bottle at 40 yards, or whether I was shooting a gallon jug at 100 yards. We're like, how are you able to video that? How can I see your crosshairs? Mm-hmm. So explain how that works, because it's really pretty cool.
Yeah, so a lot of our new stuff centered around sharing the hunt, right? What hunter do you know that doesn't have hunting pictures on his phone, right?
Right.
But the thermals, right now we've got a video out cable that you plug into the Thor, the scope, and then you get a recorder, a DVR, like a pocket DVR that records either to a micro SD card or internal memory, and then you've got your recording of your thermal.
See, that's so cool. That's the first thing that I did. After I got my Thor, I was like, well, I've got to go out and get a recorder now because I want to be able to record the hunt.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome to be able to go back and look at it. And when you were out here last year, we did that in the field. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a blast.
I shot a coyote. Chip was sitting with me. I was like, we got to watch this right now. And we grabbed the recorder and it was like, wow. And we're out hunting, watching video of hunting.
Right,
It was kind of a neat deal.
And right after you shot it too.
Oh yeah, seconds.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We could tell if it was a good shot or not.
Yeah, oh yeah,
But
instantly.
you nailed him.
Oh, it was fun stuff, man.
That was
I
a good
love
time.
it. A lot of times I'll have viewers comment and say, man, I was watching your show, and when I was looking through the recording, through your scope where I could see your crosshairs, it said 1X or 2X or 4X. If you would, break down some of the options that people have with some of the different ATN scopes.
Sure. So we talked about the standard definition and the high definition resolution between the scopes, but then also we've got the different lenses, different size lenses that gives you the different optical magnification. And then there's a ton of other features, and without getting too complicated, we've got digital magnifiers inside the scopes that'll give you even more distance at night. Different colors, there's like 10 different color palettes within the Thor.
That's pretty fun too, to be able to flip through different colors.
Yeah. That's kind of reminds people of that movie Predator. I get that question all the time.
Yeah, because you could do that. Sometimes I go with white, sometimes I go with black, and basically that means, and stop me if I say something incorrect, but basically that means you could scroll through and turn the heated object, whatever the thermal scope is detecting, you could make it different colors to make it pop. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely. I mean, when you're looking at a body of heat with a thermal unit and you switch
Let's
to
say a
different
coyote,
colors,
just to use an example.
Yeah, well, within a coyote, you can actually tell where the hotter areas are. So you could probably tell where the vitals are if you go to those different colors.
Yeah, it's pretty neat watch because I can actually see with such clarity. I can tell the nose from the ears, from the body and the tail, and even on hogs, you know what I mean? I can see a lot of detail. I can see the shoulder. I can see exactly where I need to shoot.
Right.
And that's why I like, some of the higher end thermal scopes, because I really think you can see a lot of detail.
Oh, for sure. Those higher resolution Thors, I mean, you could see hairs on people's faces.
Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And the same thing with some of the night vision scopes. You've got some magnification options on the night vision as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the night vision, the magnification is fixed, so you can either get a 2, 4, or 6X scope. But remember, you get a lot of detail with the night vision over the thermal.
Right,
So
because it's almost like looking like daytime.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, each technology has its advantage.
Well, we've shown you some of the different ATN products. We've shown you some examples at night so you can see what we're seeing when we're looking through the scopes. But check out ATN, because not only do they have some of the products we've talked about, but they've got things like the PS28 that you can actually put in front of your scope. You can have your regular daytime scope no matter what you're using. Take a PS28 ATN, put it in front of it, and turn your regular daytime scope into either a night vision scope or a thermal vision scope.
That's been one of our biggest sellers, the night vision clip-on. I mean, it's just so easy to use, right?
Yeah, if you have a rail, you can just snap it right on in front of it, and you're good to go. And let's talk about the cost on those, because I think that's a really viable option. A lot of people don't want a dedicated gun, or maybe they don't have 2 or 3 guns, and they go, boy, this is a gun that I use for daytime shooting, you know what I mean? But I want to kind of use it for nighttime shooting.
Right.
Let's touch base on that real quick.
Sure. I mean, because of the versatility of the PS28, because it's a clip-on, you don't need to re-zero. We have it available in all the different generations, so it's 2,000 up to about 4,000. You can choose whatever generation you want and snap it onto your gun. You're good to go.
Yeah, see, I think that's another neat one. So make sure you check out all the different ATN products. They don't just have what we've shown today, but I hope it gives you a little more education on the difference between thermal vision, night vision, and what you can see.